So an interesting thing happened today. Yeah, I'm 42 and I just spent a little over a month at my dad's while my hand healed from my last day at my ex-wife's house, put it like that. Anyways, so I head up a couple hours north, hang out at my dad's, and him and I have had quite the relationship. Like, we're kind of have the same energy in some way, like a lot of similarities in us physically, and but mentally we're a lot different. Like, he's a Viking. His farm's called Viking Farms. My dad is he's got a reputation amongst a lot of people as being like, my dad's a really hard worker. I've thrown hay with him, and I've hung drywall with him, and I've driven tractors all night with him, and I've done, I imported a Volvo from the US in New York City one time. He came with me. He drove it back, but he also never, he was always skeptical of my schemes, right? Not in support of them, and that was, I think, a mistake he made as a father. And I think it's a mistake a lot of our fathers made. As I talked to my peer group up here for the last month, boys I grew up with, right? I was imagining a lot. You take 100 boys from this tiny little valley and put them all in a gym, and man, we have a lot of mental health and health issues in our generation, and so do our dads, actually, but they don't know how to get out of it. They're in that matrix. So when I start going to the gym with my friends when I'm like, probably 16, 15's the first time I picked up a weight, probably, maybe 14. But I ran and I played sports all as a kid, so I was in physically good shape and lived on a farm and threw hay bales. So I had a base of muscle put on me young, right? But then, but my dad's like, he was always against the gym my whole life. My whole life he was against the gym. You waste your fucking time. So it would go from gentle teasing to just, in bad times in my life, he'd be like, when I went through my divorce, I hung drywall for a whole year. A lot of heavy days of drywall, right? It's a physically taxing job, but I put myself into such good shape. I didn't touch alcohol, and I fasted, and I ate really clean, and I kind of treated it like a sport. So I could easily hang drywall for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. I did that for a year and studied, and I got hormonally dialed through that. And my dad he was like, I can't believe you fucking work out. You should just hang more drywall, right? Like, sometimes he was mean about it. Anyways, so through my 20s and 30s and now into my 40s, it's always been a contentious issue between us. But I got up here and I got to look into his life and just got to sit around him for a month and see what challenges he faces as a man at 74. He told me, I've worked too hard. My body doesn't work anymore. He doesn't really appreciate that is a mindset at the end of the day. Like, that's a prison you've put yourself in. Because, when he raised me to never quit, no matter what. Like, you're broken, you're like, I had 3rd-degree burns on my hands, and he had me stacking a pile of lumber he found in a ditch in Alberta that he recovered. My dad, he works, right? So you're never supposed to quit, no matter what. And if you're not going to quit, then you should be looking to improve things, because it'll make the quitting easier not to do. You've got to make things better, and that starts with our hormones and our health. I'm not perfect, fuck me, I got my own demons I battle with, believe me, but I work at it every day. I try to get my reps in every day, and I know the tricks of, I'm hiccuping, more coffee, right? So anyways, today my dad, we kind of had it out, right? Like, he drove by me, my dad and his wife Lori, who, when I talk about my dad, I'm also talking about Lori. Like, she's an incredible human being. She came into my life at 15, and she's just really an incredible natured person. Smart, very intelligent, and open to new ideas, despite her being a natural conservative person. So she's very intelligent. And, I got her doing a few squats, and I said, she skis, right? And she's doing squats. And finally today, my dad and I had it out. And I said, look, you're hormonally fucked right now. You got no muscles between your, I'm not going to say what I said, but time to get moving, right? Fighting. And, he's a Viking, right? So he says, finally, he did his squats, his second round of squats. What are we talking about? 40 reps? The hardest is to start. I've started a million times after falling down in life. Fuck. Sometimes in spectacular fashion, for sure. But, it's how you get up and it's how you move forward. And, setbacks reveal cowards. We know that about life. So they're an opportunity to clean your circle and clean your diet and get your muscles tense and your energy high and your focus tight and get your spirituality in alignment and, see if you can add value to the people's lives around you in a meaningful way. That's what carnivore is to me. Another a friend of mine I was visiting with last night, his wife, another amazing lady, like really good CrossFitter, fit, smart woman, Amanda Watson. She asked me, she said, why do you do this? Like, is it vanity? Is it like, what drives you to do this? For me, it's to set a good example. And I say it humbly because, fuck, I've set a bad example for long periods of my life that I got to own that shit. And it's a struggle not to set a bad example. And it starts with getting those reps in. So yeah, I get to drive through this beautiful valley of paradise today. And, I get to talk authentically and honestly with guys about their health. Because at the end of the day, I think if we try to set the best example, that's the best strategy for our business, our families, our communities. And I think it's really important to do now that we're in our... Most of the guys that I talk to every day, are between 35 and 45, and there's a few younger and a few older, but that's the primary. That's the guys that have the most to gain from recapturing their hormones. So I'll sign off, get off seed oils, start buying Bitcoin every month, self-custody it, and get your health and your hormones intact. And let's get super dialed in 2023. Cheers, everybody.